In the last video, we went ahead and installed Express, and we set up our basic app.js file and our package.json file. Alright, so we have one route here going to the home page, and all we're doing is just sending out some text inside of an h1 tag. So what we want to do is we want to load up some Jade views for different routes in our application. So before we can do that, we need to actually set up a couple things. Alright, so let's go in and let's say app.set, and what we want to set here is views. We need to tell the system, we need to tell Jade which folder the template files will be in. So views, and then the second parameter here we're going to say path.join, and in here we just want to put dir name, and then the second parameter will be the folder name, which will be views. Okay, we also need to set the view engine. So we're going to say app.set view engine, and then the second parameter will be Jade. Alright, now down here, instead of saying res.send, we're going to say res.render, and we're going to render the index view. So what we want to do now is save that and go back to our folder, and we're going to create a new folder called views. Alright, and then in there we're going to create a document, and we're going to call this index.jade. Okay, we'll open that up, and all we're going to put in here is, let's do an h3, and we'll say hello world. We'll save that. We're going to have to restart the server, and now you can see that if we do a control U and look at the source code, it's an h3, so we know that it's coming from here. Now as for the Jade syntax, it really works on indents instead of tags, and I can actually show you the Jade website. I'll give you some examples real quick. Alright, so let's look at the basics. Over here is just your standard HTML. So we have a doc type, we have our HTML tags, head and body tags. Alright, if we look at the Jade version of this, we're setting up our doc type HTML. Notice that we don't have any greater than and less than symbols for our tag. There's also no ending tags. Alright, it works on indents. So under the doc type we have HTML, and as you can see those are on the same level, so there's no indent. The head, however, is inside the HTML, so what we need to do is put an indent here. Alright, now your indents can be either spaces or tabs, but they have to be consistent. You can't have both. Alright, the title here we know is inside of the head, so it's going to have an indent. Alright, the body is on the same level as the head, so we're going to go back one. Alright, and then the H1 is inside the body, so we're going to do another indent. Alright, so that's how it works. And if we look at ID and classes, so we have a div with the ID of content. Inside that we have block, and then inside that we have an input with the ID of bar. And you can see here that we're just indenting each time. Alright, nesting, so we have a UL here with an LI, and inside that we have an A tag. Okay, so this is how you would create a link. The text, and then you'd put the attributes inside of parentheses. Alright, and you can see that that gives us just a standard link. Now when you use text, you want the text to be like this, on the same level as its tag, because if you don't, for instance, let me just give you an example. If we go like this, okay, and we indent, and maybe we're thinking we want this to be inside the H3. Alright, but if we save it and we go back and reload, it's only seeing world. And then the reason for that, if we do a control U, it's actually putting hello inside of its own tag. Alright, because this is being looked at as a tag. Alright, so that needs to be on the same line. Alright, and that fixes that. Alright, so hopefully that makes sense. Now let's talk about layouts. All right, so we have an index file. That's great. We'll probably have an about file as well. Now we don't want to have, for example, a menu in both views, and then in every other view we create. So what we can do is we can surround our views in a layout, and then in that layout we can provide the code that we want to be on every page. All right, so let's do that. So in the views folder, we're going to create a new document here, and we're going to call this layout.jade. All right, so let's open that up, and I'm going to grab this code right here and paste that in there. And I'm going to get rid of this for now. This is a variable. I'll get into that in a second. Alright, so let's save that. Now this here is a tab. Actually, no. Yeah, well, I'm going to do spaces. And if these aren't formatted correctly, you will get errors. Alright, so let's save that. Now in the index file, we need to specify that we want to use that layout. Alright, so what we need to do is at the very top, we're going to say extends layout, and then we're going to say block content. Alright, and then this has to be inside the block content, so we're going to put a space. Okay, then we'll save that, and let's see what happens. Okay, so now you can see we're getting this hello world, which is in our index. But if you look at the tab here, it says My Jade Template. That's what's in the layout title, My Jade Template. Alright, and if we look at the source code, you can see we now have our doc type, we have our HTML tags, head and body tags. So we have this layout that we can wrap around any view we want as long as we just include these two things here. Now I would like to use Bootstrap for our layout, so I'm going to go to Get Bootstrap, and let's go to Examples, and then this right here, Starter Template. Actually, let's look at this one here, which has the Jumbotron. Alright, so I'm going to do a Control U here, and I'm going to grab all of this. Okay, and then let's open up another file just to paste this in for now so we can edit it. Alright, because we don't want all this stuff. And what I'm going to do is there's actually a Jade converter that we can use, that we can paste in HTML, and it'll give us Jade code back. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is just get rid of a bunch of this stuff that we don't need. We don't even need the lang attribute. Okay, let's see that. Okay, now as far as the style sheet, let's look at our folder. Okay, style sheets are going to go in a folder called public. Alright, so we need to create that. Alright, and then inside public, let's create a folder called style sheets. Okay, and we're going to grab Bootstrap. Okay, so we're going to just bring this Bootstrap CSS over. Alright, now before we get to this, we need to specify in our app.js that we want the public folder to actually be the public folder, or the static folder, I should say. So we'll go down to where we have the middleware, and we're going to say app.use express.static, and we're going to use that path module. We're going to say path.join, and whoops, we want to say dir name and public. Alright, so we'll save that. And let's go back to our HTML here. So for this, we're going to have that just be css/bootstrap.css. Alright, and then we can get rid of the rest of the stuff in the head tag. Alright, and then for the nav bar, let's change project name. And let's say this is a computer repair shop. So we'll just say PC repairs. Alright, and then let's see, we don't need the form here. I'm going to get rid of that. And I guess that's good. We don't have any links though, so we're going to have to get that. Alright, so div ID navbar, I'm going to grab this right here. And just replace this. Okay, so we have home. That'll be slash. I'm going to get rid of the class active here. And then about, we'll say slash about. Contact will be slash contact. Alright, and then down here, that's the Jumbotron. I'm going to get rid of the comments. Okay, I guess we could leave that for now. And then these down here, I'll just keep that. And I'm going to get rid of all the JavaScript stuff. Okay, so now we have a very simple template. So I'm going to just grab all of this and we're going to go to, I forget the URL, but we'll just say Jade Converter. That's it, HTML to Jade. Alright, so we're going to paste this over here. And it's going to give us the Jade code. Okay, so we'll copy that. And then let's go to our layout.jade file, and we're just going to replace this. And we'll save. And let's check out our app. Okay, so what's going on here is it's not seeing the CSS file. If we do Control U, and you can see it's looking CSS/bootstrap. If we try to open that, we get cannot get CSS bootstrap. Alright, so this is wrong. It's not, remember we called it style sheets. So let's try /style sheets/bootstrap. Let's try that. Okay, so that still didn't work. Let me just double check. Public style sheets bootstrap.css. Oh, I know why. We didn't restart the server, because remember we changed that. We added this here, and we didn't restart the server, so let's do that. There we go. Alright, so now we have a template. Now the way it is right now, everything you see is inside of layout.jade, and that's not what we want. We want the Jumbotron and this area here, we want that to be in the index page. Alright, so let's go back to layout, and we're going to grab, let's see, we're going to grab from this Jumbotron down to here, right above the HR. And we're going to cut that. Alright, and then right here we want to say block content. We'll save it. Let's go to index and let's try to reload that. Alright, so you can see we're getting hello world. So we want to replace that with the Jade code that we just cut. Okay, paste it in, save. Looks like we have something Something's going on here. I think this block content needs to be over 1. Nope. No, that didn't work either. Let me try that. There we go, that looks good. Alright, I'm using spaces for indents, not tabs. Actually, you know what? I don't see the footer, so actually I want this block content to be on the same level as the nav. Alright, and then I want to bring this back like that. Because the HR and the footer aren't inside of that. So let's save that and see what that looks like. Alright, good. So now we have our footer. And I actually want to give that paragraph a class, so we're going to say class equals text center. There we go. So now what we want to do is we want this about page to work. Alright, so let's go back to app.js, and I'm going to copy what we have here. And this time it's going to go to about. And we're going to render about. Alright. Now if we want to pass variables through here, we can do that. For instance, we'll add another parameter here, open some curly braces, and let's say title. We'll set title to welcome. Alright, so now if we go to the index, let's go up to this h1, and we're going to replace this with this. Okay, number sign and then curly braces and the variable name. Alright, we're going to have to restart the server though because we changed that. Alright, so go back and now we get welcome. So that's how we can pass stuff to our view. Now, I mean, as we have it, that's just a string with welcome, but this could in fact be something that we pull back from a database. It could be an array of stuff we pull from a database, and we can pass the results to the view very easily. Alright, now for this here we need to create an about view. So let's go to views and we'll create a new file here called about.jade. Okay, we'll open that up, and all I need from here really is this. Alright, and then we'll just put h1 and we'll say about us. Alright, we'll save that. Actually, I want to go to the layout and just get rid of this navbar fixed top class. There we go. So we get about us. We probably want to put a container around that. So down here, we'll say container, and we want the block inside of it. So I'm just going to indent that like that. Alright. And you probably want a paragraph here. Now with paragraphs, it's a little different. What we're going to want to do is do a space, but if we start typing, let's say this is the about page. Alright, if we do this, you can see that we're missing the first word, this. It's looking at that as a tag. So to avoid that, we can use the pipe character. So we can go like that. Alright, and we'll save. And now we get this is the about page. Alright, so we have our home page, we have our about page. The contact page we're going to do in the next video because we're going to implement Node Mailer, which is a module that will allow us to have a contact form. Alright, so I will see you in the next video.